Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Okay, takutnya nak cakap pasal mirrorless laser sebab I'm also still exploring it. Okay, alright. However, maybe we should start off with the basic of a laser, right? So what does the acronym stands for?
Laser.
Yes. L is for light. Yes. A,
Amplification.
amplification. By what?
Amplification.
By
For-
S. No.
No.
Light amplification. SER. Stimulated emission of radiation. Okay, light amplification by stimulated emission radiation. So it has to be stimulated emission, right? And in order for it to classify as a laser, it has to be amplified light. Okay, right. So basically, okay, those of you who have taken Z8386, grade 7 will have been familiar with this, right? You can either have absorption, which means the electron goes from the lower state to the higher state, right? It absorbs a photon and it goes to another state. You can also have spontaneous emission, which means it drops down, right? From a higher state, it goes to a lower state and it emits a photon, right? You can also have the case of stimulated emission, which means you have a photon coming in, stimulating this electron to go to the lower level, emitting a photon with the exact same phase, exact same direction, same wavelength with the incident photon. So instead of going with one, you come up with
2,
so if you have 2, you come up with
4,
if you have 4, you come up with
8.
you go 8.
I know.
16.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you can see how it is amplifying just by going through the same medium several times, right? Okay, all right. So the classical, so for a laser to happen, this must happen: stimulated emission. If it's just spontaneous emission, it's not a laser. What is it?
Light.
Yes.
Is it neon? Neon bulb?
LED.
LED, yes.
Okay, alright, it's not a laser, right? Okay, so spontaneous emission alone doesn't work, absorption alone doesn't work. It has to have stimulated emission, then only you get a laser. So that's the basic principle. Okay, for a normal laser, so this is the structure of a normal laser, right? The first person to actually realize this was Theodore Maiman, okay, in 1960. Okay, and his laser medium was ruby. Right, so he had ruby in the middle here. So number 2 is the gain medium, right? You have the source. So I think the source at that time was probably tungsten or something. Okay, it's a kind of lamp source, right? So he had a source which excited the ruby. Okay, we also have, right, at the 2 ends, mirror. So a conventional laser, you would have mirrors at the ends. One is fully reflecting, so one was fully covered with silver. The other part was semi-coated with silver, right? So it's semi-reflecting. It's not 100% reflecting. The reason why you don't want it to be 100% reflecting is that you want the output to go out somewhere. Like here, it's fully reflecting, there will be no transmission. So there's no output there. Here, you can have some form of output, right? Okay, now, with this traditional method of lasing, right? The photons that is excited in the ruby here, initially spontaneous emission je, right? So spontaneous emission, there is no phase associated to it. So it can be any direction, okay, suka hati nak keluar bila, that kind of thing. Alright, so there's no phase associated with with each other in a word. Now, the thing is, these mirrors could reflect the photons. So if you have a photon going this way, it can reflect that way and reflect again. Each time it reflects, it stimulates photon inside the ruby itself. Each time dia lalu gain medium, excite more. Lalu again, excite again. Lalu again, excite again. Up to a certain point, it reaches, we call it the threshold level. When it reaches that threshold, then only it would come out. You see the laser output. before reaching the threshold condition, which is the maximum, the minimum amount of photons in order for it to emit. Okay, right? So you have to build up the photons first in the system. Okay, if it just comes out randomly, in a way that it is spontaneous emitted light, then it's not a laser, it's more towards LEDs and so. Okay, alright. So the thing about these lasers, so the first laser was introduced in 1960 by Maryam. However, in order for it to be used as it is today, it took how many years? 50 years.
640.
Now it's already 2017.
17.
So 17 plus 40, so 57 years now. See?
Wow.
So it takes a long time for technology to actually develop into really useful applications. It takes time. Okay? The field of random laser, the first random laser was actually about 20 years ago. So it's still relatively new compared to conventional lasers. Okay, what's the thing about this random laser? Okay, initially people can only do it theoretically. So asalnya they can only mention it like theoretical point of view. Okay, right? And Ayuf Regal, okay, he came out with the criterion for this to occur. So Ayuf Regal criterion, it's known as the Ayuf Regal criterion. So they published a paper together. It's actually only a conference paper, but it's been used through everyone who is mentioning about random lasing would mention Ayuf Regal criterion. Okay, so during those times, the impact of just conference paper is huge. Nowadays,
It's
not
become a
so,
new research. Only for
okay.
a paper.
Okay, alright.
A new field.
So, anyway, what he said, if you have a periodic structure, okay, so let's say it's very periodic, something like this, and I have another periodic, and so I can build up a periodic array, yeah? Okay, sama je, jarak dia is the same, okay, you assume a periodic structure. Now, the electron conductivity associated with a periodic electric field such as this, right? The movement of the charges is by Schrödinger equation. So you can use Schrödinger equation to describe the movement of the charges. When you disrupt the periodicity, so let's say now I have it going like this, say, okay, it's no longer periodic,
Yes.
right? You no longer can explain the Schrödinger equation below, right? You disrupt the periodicity, you are enhancing scattering. Basically, you are saying the electron mean free path is shortened.
Yes.
Okay, right? So you've increased the scattering rate for the electrons, right? So you can no longer use the usual theory of electron conduction. That's what Ayuf Regal was trying to say. And he set up the criterion to be the mean free path, L, comparable to the interatomic spacing. So this would only occur when that condition arises. So you have to be in the quantum punya.
Explanation.
Okay, alright, you can no longer use classical lah, basically in this case. Okay, now roughly in the same time, we have another guy called Anderson. You may have heard his name. Okay, in the field of random lasing, it is normally, people normally say as Anderson localization effect. Right? Now Anderson is talking about trapping electrons in a disordered structure.
Disordered structure.
Okay, so you have a structure that's not in an orderly manner.
Like a crystal lah.
Polycrystalline, things like this. Right? So he wrote a paper 2 years before the conference with Ayuf and Regal, 1958. So he wrote a paper, absence of diffusion in certain random lattices. Absence of diffusion. He's saying that the normal diffusion is not occurring there. So the question then is asked like, so where did electron go?
Where did it go?
Yeah, macam kat mana kan? You know. Okay, alright. So he's mainly talking about conduction in the impurity band. So he's saying that in low impurity concentration, dia notice tak ada diffusion. Okay, right? And he said the diffusion so-called is due to quantum jumps. The electron is jumping between localized states. That doesn't happen with normal diffusion. Normal diffusion, okay. So this is quantum jumping is a quantum phenomena lah, right? So it's jumping between states, jumping between sites, right? And this was only observed in 1975. So it took like 58 to 75. So how many years did it take to actually look into this?
58 to 75. Wow.
58, 75, so it's like 28 years? Sorry.
17 years.
17 years. It took 70 years to realise it, but that wasn't even tak cantik pun datanya. Okay? And then it was further realised using trapped ions in 1986. Not so far back. 86. Okay, so you can see how hard this field nak evolve tu. Right? Okay? There's a lot of things happening. Anyway, just to go through the quantum jump. So when you have the quantum jump, what would happen when you have electron jumping between two states?
Emission.
Yes, or absorption. Emission or absorption.
Yes,
So you can imagine how much photons you are creating from the jumps. Okay? Alright, so he observed this effect. He had his own criterion. But it is in line with what Ayufrigal has mentioned. Right? So they are, how to say, sama-sama betul lah in that way. Right? So it's during a year when it's, I mean, you know, it's not easy to observe these effects those years. Right? Anyway, what is the relation between energy and wavelength? So energy is proportional or inversely proportional to wavelength?
Of course, it's inversely proportional.
Exactly, I'm just testing. Okay, alright, so that means the higher the electron separation, the energy gap, the higher the separation,
The shorter wavelength.
shorter the wavelength. So if we are looking for shorter wavelength blazing emission, we have to look for something with a higher.
High energy from that.
Obviously, you have your limits, right? So there is a limit to how high of an energy you can go, which means there is a limit to how small wavelength you can have. So it's a leeway in between, right? Now, what else do I need to mention? The possibilities. Okay, the difficulties in pinning down. This was by Nature Physics by Nabil Lawandi, right? He mentioned the difficulties in pinning down the mechanism responsible for random lasing are the result of insufficient quantitative characterization. Okay, the degree of inhomogeneous broadening, we don't know. I said there are a few things that is still unknown, right? And what about dispersion of the gain profile? We don't even know that either, right? Presence of scattering, boundaries not within the gain medium. How does that affect? Tak tahu, because it has no gain medium. It has no boundaries in the first place. You have to set these boundaries. Okay.
There's no boundary.
In a sense, so it's a kind of an open-ended kind of thing. Okay, all right. So there's a lot of things that you have to set. Basically, a lot of people are looking into lithographically designed structures, which means you are engineering the amount of disorder. Faham tak? If you can engineer properly the amount of disorder of your structure, which using low-cost technique is not so easy to achieve. Okay, how well kalau you buat 10 kali 10 batch tu sama ke? Macam tu kan. So that's the challenge.
You control lah the disorder. Even you mix the same amount of impurities pun, the disorder is tak boleh nak predict lah kan.
But I mean, we don't know. Could it be that by setting the exact, contohnya you set the exact quantity and the exact time, how long you buat dan sebagainya, even though it may affect the disorder in the lattice, but would it affect the lasing properties of it?
Yeah, that's a question.
That's a question. It's a very broad field to go actually into once you get into it lah. It's like, lemak yang ni open to this question, yang ni pula open to another new question, yang ni pula open pula to another new question kan. So there's a lot of, it's an interesting topic. Okay? Alright? I mean, we need to look into controllable and predictable outputs. I think that's what the community is saying. Right? Okay? So, what? It is the exact same thing that Oxford is looking into. So I'm currently collaborating with Oxford as well, Oxford University. So we are looking into some sort of design in order to kind of control the lasing, because roughly you would see random. Okay, the random lasing dia ada dua. Satu, randomness in terms of your structure. Satu lagi, randomness in terms of what the emitted light is. So the lasing ada banyak emission. The mode spacing is quite close. So a few nanometers. Okay. What we got from our structure, we are publishing this very soon. Okay, it's under review. Right. So as you can see, okay, we ada substrate, ada zinc oxide nanorods. This was actually requested by the publisher, so we had to do a gambar. Anyway, the pump source, and then you nampak the lasing entered. So this is what you see, these two lasing peaks. So we saw double mode lasing in our structure, right? We saw double mode lasing. The spacing between them is only a few nanometers, right? If it was a Fabry-Perot, if it was a laser such as this, we calculated the spacing to be about 30 or 40 nanometers apart. But because it's only a few nanometers apart, then it is not under the category of normal lasing. So actually it is under the category of random lasing. But to prove the mechanism is the hard part. Okay, proving the mechanism is the hard part. But kan?
Benda yang random.
What do you think? Okay, when you hear something about a random laser kan, so macam dia call random peak. So I mean, what's the purpose of using that laser?
Ya, random.
Okay, cuba tanya Nuri.
Tembak laser macam, oh, dia keluar. Apa application? Random.
Apa application random laser?
Random lasing.
Okay, the first thing about a laser is that it is very sensitive. Random lasers are lagi sensitif. Okay, laser biasa dia bergantung pada mirror dia. Mirror dia bagus, laser tu pun akan jadi bagus. Sebab pumping source is normally the same. In random lasers, because it relies on scattering, so material with a high scattering inside a gain medium, kalau you dapat highly scattering, then you boleh dapat more pronounced lasing to happen, right? Controlling the number of modes is a separate issue. We believe we've controlled into double modes due to our structure, due to the growth method of CBD, right? We've explained this in the paper that we'll publish soon, inshallah. Now, the application of it is, because it's sensitive, you can use it as a very sensitive sensor. That's one thing. Very sensitive. Subtle changes would give rise to a different peak.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how sensitive. Okay, so if you're monitoring something that's very sensitive, then it's the way to go lah. Right? Okay. Other than that, people have used it for biomedical applications, right? Especially in detecting cancer cells, because cancer cells are different to normal cells. Normal cells is like round, is very specific feature. Cancer cells are like gumpalan pelik, irregular shape. So random lasing is one way of detecting irregular. Yalah, dia hanya berlaku bila ada irregular shape.
Dan irregular tu sangat kecil lah. I mean like kalau pakai laser biasa is undetectable lah, sebab changing tu tak detect.
Yes, because in a Fabry-Perot, the next lasing peak is like 40 nanometers apart also, something like that. Okay, alright. So this is where it is an advantage. Okay, especially in terms of yang tu medical part lah.
But about the direction, kalau macam mirror laser, we have one direction lah.
Ni universal direction.
So kalau macam random laser, for example, we have a powder.
Yes.
So powder tu, so dia direction is like
smooth.
So macam this kind of radiate a laser. Wow. So laser come from a powder.
Macam you have
not
X-ray.
one direction.
Macam you have X-ray kan. X-ray dia pergi one direction je ke?
No. Okay lah.
It's a similar thing lah.
Wow, laser in the. Okay.
Tapi it's not as bad as X-ray penetrating kan.
Kau pakai laptop pakai laser. Tapi laser dia macam bentuk
betul tak? Mentang-mentang tak nampak kan? It's yalah, it's a
Yalah, itu dah macam
phenomenon.
wow. High intensity dari segi area yang besar. So wow.
Okay, but not everything can lace. You need a gain medium. So if it's something like plastic, bendanya nak lace-nya. It has to be something that has gain. So for example, in our case, it's zinc oxide. So zinc oxide has gain lah. Okay. So it has to be in a gain medium. The scattering has to happen in a gain medium. Before this, the scattering they showed in terms of a laser dye. So dia ada satu laser dye, and then dia letaklah semiconductor powder dalam tu. Lepas tu dia dapatlah randomizing tu. Dia tak pernah tunjuk dalam solid. So I mean now we are moving towards solids, but we are showing that with CVD you can actually achieve it. This is the one of the highlight of using low cost, because with using low cost you would never get a perfect structure. Low cost technique.
Always disorder.
So why not take it to an advantage kan? Tengoklah benda lain yang boleh.
Yalah, mostly people are keen to ada order structure.
Tak apalah, kita biarlah dia in their research, we don't
go into disorder structure.
Tak apalah, kita tengoklah disorder structure. Tak apalah, orang yang nak perfectkan growth, then by all means dia orang boleh perfectkan growth. Okay, any questions? Anything actually. Gallium nitride boleh. Kan? Tapi I'm not quite sure. I've not actually look into detail lah. Orang dah buat setakat mana, ada korang measure. Okay. The reason why random lasing was suddenly sprung up balik, okay, macam tempat-tempat seperti China, Taiwan, Singapore, right, is because you are using low cost method. So you are looking into, kan, so negara-negara yang pushing towards that would be among the people yang focus on this lah. Yes. So what can you do with something yang okay?
I mean, for this laser, but using a low cost method. I mean, kalau yang conventional laser, maybe kena buat mirror.
Yes, you kena pergi cavity dia.
Yes, the again also dia punya apa nama? Crystal pun kena memang kata perfect structure lah. So memang quite high cost juga lah.
Yeah.
So kalau dapat benda yang
I mean the cost of lasers pun dah makin kurang dah sekarang, kecuali high power lasers lah, but laser pointers semua dah murah
RM50
kot.
Ya, so kalau laser no need for mirror.
You just need the gain medium with high scattering. Yeah. You can focus it later, of course.
Can you use it as like a diffractometer to study the shape of the molecules?
You should be able to. I mean, once it becomes a laser, it acts just like a normal laser. It's just the mechanism, the mechanism of how you make the laser itself. It doesn't rely on a cavity, on a so-called cavity. It has a different kind of a cavity which is not mirrors.
So
Verifies on scattering.
The mirrorlessnya substance dalam mirror punya laser. Ada apa-apa berlaku kalau tiba-tiba intensity lagi?
Tak tahulah.
Itulah ada macam
tak adalah pula orang letak dalam. I mean the whole point is to have it mirrorless. Tapi yeah, it could well be. I don't know.
Ini like intensity, why betul intensity, double intensity?
It may just be the same because if you are using mirrors, then it will rely on the mirror balik lah. So gain medium dia, power tak power pun tak ada effect sangat sebab dia depend on the mirror itself. It's just that when we work with zinc oxide, we are looking towards the UV lasing. So it's lasing in the UV punya range, about 380, something like that. So I mean, we are still lacking of UV lasers. So this is one way approaching that, but using a different.
Can you use it to sense space? Like if you put the in a enclosed space, then you put the sensor inside, it can show how the shape of the inside looks like.
Space.
Macam kalau ada buat satu rupa you letak itu sensor, dia boleh
Yeah, if it's related to disorderedness, it can detect disorderedness. So, for example, what people have been done in the past, ada somebody created a paint. They call it the laser paint. So, you put the paint, obviously you tak nampak paint tu. but the laser paint, once you shine the laser to it, just my pen laser kan, so macam you akan dapat the reflectance of it to be different with different structures. So it's like an identification method. For example, if you have a whole car kan, and then you put it on different parts of the car, right? So you can just go like by pin macam tu dah tahu dah mana kompartmen apa. It's interesting in that way lah.
Yeah.
Sebab dia berubah mengikut, but you have to have the medium to be there lah. You tak boleh lah. I mean, if you're making it as a laser pointer, then it's different. Tapi ni the laser itself is the medium itself is there, so you shine, then you will get something else back. Reflect. You detect lain.
Cool.
That's the idea of it, without using chemical. So it's very sensitive juga, sebab different one would give different reading. So dia takkan sama.
Different material.
There's a range of material that people are looking into, but so far the most promising is the outside. Maybe because it's good in room temperature, because you need to have that strong, how to say, photons. You need to have, so kalau PL in room temperature is already high, fusing outside for example, kan, then you already have a number of photons for you to start getting the lasing. So lasing yang anda jumpa kat sini, this one is in room temperature. You don't even need cold. Okay, so that's the advantage of fusing outside.
So kalau ada low temperature lagi lah, wow.
You could. I did not study that, but I believe so, yeah. Because what we have observed, when this peak, yang apa namanya PL peak ni, kalau dia lagi tinggi, threshold is less. That's what we observe so far. So if something has very low PL to start with, we're not sure, but I suspect that the gain for lasing would be, the threshold would be very high lah to get lasing to occur. So we may not get, so you won't get random lasing in all structures. People are still looking into ways of enhancing it.
But still the question is how the random lasing happen. People understand or not yang how the random lasing happen. So actually people dah faham ke belum concept, the concept?
Yeah, the mechanism is still questioned.
How the random lasing happening?
The idea behind it macam kind of confirm lah, macam is due to apa namanya, high scattering. It has to be high scattering inside a game medium, and lagi satu, it has to satisfy Ivrigo criterion tu, right? So your wavelength has to be comparable to the interatomic spacing. Okay. However, the thing is, the exact mechanism is still debatable. Some people say it's due to some, so it's still it's an area that an area that has to be developed, so to say.
Cool.
ada berminat.
Ada
So baca kot malam.
Nuri lah patut berminat.
Dia jamin tak partikel dengan saya random laser ni.
Ya,
Saya baca kot malam.
Bagus Suruddin.
Banyak lah.
Okay, it's interesting, right? Okay. Any other question? Mula tak ada soalan. Orang nak tulis thesis biasa banyak soalan. Soalan-soalan yang macam kenapa ni? Kenapa tu? Kenapa ni kan?
Benda yang saya tak baca. Ada yang tak baca tiba-tiba idea baru kan. Ada tambahan dalam
Aduh. Biasalah, adat lah menulis.
Okay.
Kan? Okay?
Okay.
Yes. Ada soalan? Have you heard about this before?
Randomness. Random, macam random.
Oh, okay.
Intensity yang sekarang tinggi. Absolute
Tak.
character.
Tak.
Yesterday. When I read the
But
paper,
it's promising lah.
The future lah.
The future lah. Cik. The future lah.
ada masa depan lah.
Ada masa depan. Sabar je lah.
So, yang penting ada masa depan lah. Kau pergi ni ada masa depan tu,
Oh,
siap kan?
Yang thesis what is what